Blockbuster actors often swear they'll never return to their roles, and the reason isn't the script or the paycheck. It's the makeup chair mirror. Today, we're going behind the scenes to look at the most grueling and painful transformations in Marvel history. From Iron Man's 90-pound armor to Black Widow's suffocating latex prison, behind every perfect frame lie hours of genuine physical endurance. Let's dive in. We start with the man who literally carried the foundation of the MCU on his shoulders, Robert Downey Jr. and the Mark I armor. Back in 2008, motion capture wasn't what it is today, so the studio relied on heavy practical effects. Downey Jr. had to wear a real metal frame weighing 90 pounds. Just imagine, 90 pounds of raw iron and plastic digging into your shoulders with every move. That's the weight of an average 8-year-old child that you're required to carry for 12 hours a day under blistering studio lights. Robert recalls feeling like he was inside a tin can that turned into an oven under the heat. There was zero ventilation, and the metal acted as a perfect heat sink. Every step or arm raise required massive physical effort to fight the inertia of the heavy rig. Every movement came with the clanking and grinding of parts that literally rubbed his skin raw. The desert scenes were a nightmare. Fine sand would get into the joints of the armor, creating a horrific grinding sound and locking the mechanisms. At one point, the suit simply stopped moving, becoming a metal cage. Inside, Downey Jr. was suffocating from the heat and the weight, which eventually felt like over 110 pounds due to muscle fatigue. He later joked that if he'd known how much time he'd spend in that Iron Maiden, he would have demanded double the pay before filming even started. But the torment wasn't just the armor. Even without the suit, he spent hours in the makeup chair. It started with the process every actor hates, the life cast. To make the arc reactor chest plate fit perfectly, special effects artists needed an exact replica of Robert's torso. It looks like a scene from a sci-fi horror movie. The actor is literally entombed in fast-setting silicone and plaster. First, a layer of cold medical alginate or silicone is applied, that bright green mass you see in behind-the-scenes footage. The actor must remain perfectly still for 20 to 30 minutes. Any deep breath or shoulder twitch can ruin the mold, forcing a total restart. It's a massive challenge for anyone with even mild claustrophobia. The hardest part is the total isolation and the weight of the hardening material pressing against your chest. You can't scratch an itch, you can't breathe deeply, and your eyes are often sealed shut. Once the mold sets, plaster bandages are added to create a rigid shell. Only then is the actor carefully cut out. Sculptors then use this copy to hand-carve the crater for the reactor, ensuring every pore and muscle fiber matched Robert's body. This precision made it look like the device was truly embedded in a living human chest. Remember the glowing reactor? To create that effect, makeup artists used a complex silicone appliance. Applying it took hours, with hidden wires and flat batteries for the lights tucked underneath, causing constant itching. For scenes where the reactor is replaced, a special chest piece was created to simulate the cavity in his chest. Robert had to freeze in uncomfortable positions while artists used alcohol-based paints to blend the edges of the prosthetic with his skin. He later admitted that after hours in this gear, his body ached as if he'd finished a heavy weightlifting session. This grueling experience is exactly why Marvel eventually shifted toward digital suits. Chris Evans faced an equally brutal ordeal as Captain America. And if you think his only struggle was endless training and chicken breast, think again. Evans lived through the production hell of prosthetic makeup. Remember the legendary shawarma post-credits scene?
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
An observant viewer will notice Steve Rogers is the only one not eating. He's just sitting there, leaning his face on his hand. That wasn't a directorial choice. They filmed that scene months after principal photography wrapped. By then, Chris had grown a thick beard for another movie and couldn't shave it due to his contract. To hide the beard, Marvel's makeup team built a complex prosthetic jaw and cheeks over it. The result looked so unnatural and horrific that the actor physically couldn't open his mouth. The only solution was to hide the plastic disaster with his hand and hope the audience wouldn't notice. But Cap's most incredible transformation started in his first solo film. Remember Skinny Steve? Many thought it was pure CGI, but it was a massive effort involving body double Leander Dini and technical makeup. Dini had the perfect slight build to serve as the live frame. Chris Evans would play the scene, and then Dini would precisely copy every movement, facial expression, and gait. To graft Chris's face onto the double's body in post-production, Evans had to wear tracking markers on his face. It was an exhausting process of repeating the same takes dozens of times. Chris admitted it felt bizarre playing against a shrunken version of himself, while makeup artists ensured the lighting on both faces matched to the millimeter. Finally, for his turn as a centenarian in Avengers Endgame, the artists outdid themselves. While CGI did the heavy lifting for 106-year-old Steve Rogers, Chris still sat for hours while his face was assembled, using thin silicone layers to mimic sagging skin and age spots. He recalled the worst part being the glue on his neck, which pulled his skin every time he turned his head. Closing our trio is Scarlett Johansson. Her Natasha Romanoff was a symbol of grace, but behind the scenes, it was a physical nightmare. Her Black Widow suit, made of thick latex and leather, had zero breathability. During the filming of The Avengers in extreme heat, the temperature inside the suit rose so high that she would literally pour sweat out of her gloves and boots between takes. The latex worked like a thermos, preventing her body from cooling down and leading to dangerous overheating. To even move in this second skin, Scarlett endured grueling training in MMA, acrobatics, and jiu-jitsu. The latex was incredibly restrictive. Every flip or punch required twice the effort of normal clothing. The suit had to be worn against bare skin, causing painful chafing and friction burns with every jump. During the Battle of New York, her suit became a literal torture device. She pushed herself to such exhaustion that she began to hallucinate from heat stroke. Makeup artists had to work at a frantic pace. The heat and constant movement caused the makeup on her face and neck to melt into muddy streaks. Harsh seams and the tight fit left her body covered in bruises. It proves that in the Marvel world, it's not just the people in 90-pound armor who suffer. Sometimes, a simple skin-tight suit and a hellish schedule are just as much of a survival test as hours in a special effects chair. All these stories share one thing: incredible dedication. When we see epic battles, we rarely think about the burns, the sweat, and the weeks of physical pain. The MCU is built on more than just pixels. It's built on the endurance of people who agree to become living mannequins for the world's most difficult makeup. Next time you see these flawless heroes, remember the 100 pounds of metal and the hours in plaster shells that made the magic possible. This is Offstage. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about what happens on the other side of the screen.